The millionaire's daughter never spoke, until a housekeeper revealed a shocking secret. Amelia Kensington was a ghost in her own home. The opulent mansion that loomed over the crashing waves of the coast felt like a mausoleum, each room whispering secrets of a past soaked in tragedy. Her father, a towering figure in the business world, was rarely seen. They said grief had twisted him into something unrecognizable. And Amelia, she hadn't spoken a word since her mother's tragic accident, a heart-stopping moment that stitched her mouth shut with pain. The rumors about her silence buzzed through town like bees, each one more sordid than the last. Perhaps it was the family's wealth that added fuel to the fire. The mansion, all grand archways and shimmering chandeliers, had become a focal point for curious eyes. What kind of wealth could hide such a broken daughter? Whispers floated around like tendrils of smoke. Was it guilt or something far darker? No one knew for sure, and no one dared to ask Amelia. Enter Clara, the new housekeeper, with nothing but determination to make her way through life. Each morning, she scrubbed the pristine floors, her hands raw, yet her spirit indomitable. Clara noticed the way the shadows danced across the walls, almost with a life of their own. Was it her imagination, or did the house shift under the weight of untold stories? She had her own troubles, struggling to pay rent and keep food on the table, yet there was a magnetic pull that kept her lingering in that mansion filled with secrets. One fateful afternoon, while dusting off an ornate bookshelf hidden beneath layers of neglect, Clara stumbled upon a leather-bound diary, soft and worn. It felt like a heart racing in her palm. As she opened it, yellowed pages cracked like fragile bones. It belonged to Amelia's mother, and what Clara read made her heart race with shock. The entries fell like puzzle pieces, revealing a passionate affair that had bloomed against a backdrop of family pain. Each word told of meetings in secret, of whispers shared behind closed doors. Clara's mind whirled. What would this mean for Amelia? The weight of this revelation felt like rain before the storm. Every entry drew Clara further into a web of love, betrayal, and the kind of grief that gnawed on one's soul. That evening, Clara finally found the courage to confront Amelia, who sat quietly gazing at the restless sea. The tension in the air was thick, like molasses. "You need to know something," Clara began, her voice trembling. Amelia turned, her eyes filled with a sorrow deeper than the ocean. The moment felt electric. What would happen next? Could Clara unlock the silence that had bounded Amelia for so long? Would this shocking truth free them both, or would it plunge them deeper into despair? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Amelia's eyes locked onto Clara's, a fragile vessel of emotion swirling beneath the surface. The weight of unspoken words filled the chilly air around them. Clara felt her heartbeat echo in her ears, a steady drum against a backdrop thick with silence. "You need to know something," she repeated, summoning every ounce of courage. Before she could speak, the sound of footsteps echoed from the grand hallway, interrupting the serene moment. The door swung open, and in stepped Thomas Kensington, Amelia's father. His presence darkened the room. A man once full of life now stood like an empty shell, his sunken eyes wary and sharp. "What are you doing here?" he snapped, glancing at Clara as if she were a mere intruder. Clara directed her gaze back to Amelia, whose expression shifted from shock to a frozen kind of dread. The diary slipped from Clara's hands and landed on the floor with a soft thud, the pages fluttering like dying leaves. Both Amelia and her father's eyes darted to the fallen book, and Clara felt her throat constrict with a fear she had never known. "Nothing, Mr. Kensington," Just, just cleaning, Clara stammered, backpedaling as sweat pricked her brow. But how could she clean when the air felt so thick with dark secrets? Amelia's father advanced, a predator ready to strike. "You don't belong here, Clara," he growled, a storm brewing in his voice. "This family doesn't need you." Clara's heart raced. How had it turned so quickly? But the words hung in the air, charged and heavy. She opened her mouth to speak, to defend herself, but the skeletal remains of fear stifled her. She glanced at Amelia, who seemed paralyzed by the tension. "Dad, wait." Amelia's voice pierced the silence, rising with a certain fierceness that surprised them both. "You don't know what she found." All eyes snapped to Amelia. Clara felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this was the moment. Maybe Amelia would reveal the truth. But then came the unexpected. Thomas's eyes darkened, a shadow crossing his face. "What she found. You don't want to go down that road, Amelia," he warned, his voice low and threatening. "Trust me." Amelia shook her head, words bursting forth in a rush. "No, this can't stay buried. Not anymore. The truth can't hurt worse than the lies." Before she could go on, an ominous thunder rumbled outside, followed by an explosive crack of lightning, shaking the very foundations of the mansion. Clara jumped. The storm unleashed rain, beating against the windows like 1,000 tiny fists. In that very moment, everything changed. Amelia's face drained of color as she stumbled back, her hands clutching the edges of the balcony railing. You know the truth, don't you?" she gasped. Her voice, barely a whisper, but filled with urgency. "Amelia, don't!" Thomas shouted, his composure unraveling amidst the chaos. He reached out, but she shook her head, stepping away from him. Clara watched, heart racing, as clouds gathered ominously in Amelia's expression. "What happened to Mom?" Amelia demanded, her voice trembling. "You've kept me in the dark for too long, Dad." Tension thickened like smoke. The ground felt unsteady. Then, as if the universe had decided to intervene, the chandelier over their heads flickered and went dark, plunging them into a whirlwind of shadows. Amelia screamed. The sound echoed, haunting and desperate. With that, the storm raged outside, and Clara stared into the abyss of Amelia's eyes, feeling the unbearable pull of confusion and fear. Was this the moment everything would unravel? "Tell me the truth," Amelia whispered to her father, "before it's too late." What lay behind those words? What secrets were locked in that mansion? All Clara could do was hold her breath, waiting for a storm to reveal the secrets buried deep in their hearts. The air crackled with tension as Amelia stared into her father's eyes, each heartbeat a thunderclap in her chest. Clara held her breath, caught between fear and hope, fingers trembling. The storm outside mirrored their mounting chaos, rain hammering against the windows, wind howling like a grieving soul. "Don't you dare speak about your mother like that," Thomas spat, his voice now a low growl. But Amelia stood her ground, the flicker of defiance igniting in her eyes. "Mom had a life before us, Dad. She had secrets, and now those secrets are part of me." The storm intensified outside, thrashing the trees, amplifying Amelia's outburst. Clara felt her heart racing. What more could Amelia uncover? She pushed herself forward, desperate to provide support, a lifeline to their swelling emotions. "Amelia, it's okay, just talk to him. Tell him what you want to know." But before Amelia could respond, the light suddenly flickered back to life, casting an eerie glow across the room. It illuminated Thomas's face, revealing a shadow of something in his eyes. Fear? Guilt? It sent a shiver rippling through Clara. "Stay out of this, Clara. You don't understand," he hissed, turning away, momentarily distracted, but as he did, something in the room shifted. A bookcase creaked ominously, and with a jarring sound, it tilted slightly, revealing a hidden doorway behind it. Everyone froze, eyes wide as the door swung, open on rusty hinges to unveil a dark passage. Clara's breath hitched in her throat. What could lie within? Thomas's face paled, shock coursing through him. No, not that. Dad, Amelia whispered, stepping back from the railing, her voice trembling. What is down there? Nothing, nothing you need to see, he barked, panic spilling into his tone. The thunder rumbled ominously, shaking the walls. Clara, drawn by an undeniable curiosity, took a step closer, feeling a pull from the darkness. We should check it out. No. Thomas's voice rose, but it was too late. Amelia had already begun to move forward, propelled by a mixture of desperation and determination. Amelia, Clara called, rushing to her side. What are we ignoring? Amelia pressed, fear dancing in her eyes, but so did hope. If I don't know the truth now, I'll never forgive you. As Clara reached the doorway, she felt a chill spread through her body. An unseen force seemed to grasp at her clothing, urging her to step inside. She hesitated, but Amelia's eyes, filled with longing and fear, pulled her in. The passage was narrow and dark, with only a faint glow coming from somewhere deep within. Shadows flitted against the walls, and Clara felt her heart pound. Amelia stepped in beside her, gripping the edge of the doorway. Dad, she turned, her voice shaking. Are you coming? Are you going to tell us what you've been hiding? Before Thomas could answer, a loud crash sounded from the storm outside. Lightning struck close, illuminating the night for a brief, chilling second. In that moment, Clara glimpsed something in the corridor, a shadow moving toward them. And then, before anyone could react, the hidden room exhaled a terrible sound. A long, mournful cry echoed down the passage. It seemed to reverberate through the very bones of the mansion, chilling them to the core. Clara froze. What was that? Amelia's grip tightened on her arm, and for the first time, Clara saw fear in her eyes. Not just fear of her father, but of the dark secrets threatening to engulf them all. Maybe, Thomas started, his voice low, trembling now like a frightened child. Maybe it's time to let the truth come out? The air thickened with unspoken tensions, storms raging inside and out. What truth was he alluding to? Clara felt a tremor of dread, and just then, an old photograph slipped from the depths of the hidden room and slid across the floor. Clara's breath caught as she recognized the faces. An unfamiliar woman standing closely beside a younger Thomas, a young Amelia beside them, a secret family portrait that shouldn't exist. Who is she? Clara asked, breathlessly, glancing from Thomas to Amelia. But in that heartbeat, the true weight of secrets began to unravel, and Clara knew they were on the verge of uncovering something that would shake their very foundations. What lay beneath the surface was darker than she ever could have imagined. And this was just the beginning. Amelia's breath hitched in her throat as she knelt near the photograph, her heart hammering in her chest. The woman in the picture was stunning, her eyes sparkling with secrets. But who was she? Amelia's gaze darted to her father, his face a mask of dread, and Clara could feel her own pulse racing. Who is she? Amelia's voice trembled. Why have we never seen this photo before? Thomas stood frozen, a ghost in the doorway of someone else's life. The storm outside howled, crashing against the mansion with the fury of 1,000 raging hearts. It's not what you think, he muttered, shaking his head. A family picture, Dad. You can't just brush this off. Who is she? Amelia pressed, standing taller now, the fury bubbling beneath the surface. Clara watched the tension thicken like fog rolling in across the ocean. Enough! Thomas roared suddenly, the force of his voice shaking the walls. You don't know what you're asking for, Amelia. You just don't. The hidden room seemed to hold its breath, an unspoken weight hanging in the air. Clara felt goosebumps trailing down her arms. What was it that Thomas was so terrified of revealing? What's down that hall? Clara asked, her voice barely above a whisper, as if speaking too loudly would summon whatever lay hidden there. Before Thomas could respond, another crack of lightning illuminated the room. This time it was different. The light flickered, revealing a shadow moving beyond the archway. Clara squinted into the darkness, heart pounding. Did you see that? She whispered to Amelia, who nodded, eyes wide. Stay back, Thomas ordered, but it was too late. With a bold step, Amelia moved toward the doorway, and as she crossed the threshold, the walls creaked ominously. Clara followed, her curiosity igniting something deep inside her. "Amelia, wait!" Thomas shouted, but she didn't stop. They stepped into the dark corridor, the air heavy with dust and secrets. Suddenly, the shadows shifted. A figure emerged, draped in darkness. Clara's heart raced as the shape became clearer, revealing a woman. She looked eerily familiar, eyes glinting like those in the photograph. The storm roared behind them, drowning out Clara's gasp. "Mom?" Amelia's voice blended with a mixture of disbelief and hope. "Is that you?" The woman stepped forward, her features illuminated by the flickering light. "Amelia, you shouldn't be here." Her voice was soft, haunting, racked in layers of memories. "Mom, but you're—" Amelia struggled with the reality crashing around her. Clara felt the world tip on its axis. This was insanity. How could she be alive? "Not alive, sweetheart." The woman's gaze held a sadness that sliced through Clara, filling her with an unnamable dread. "I'm something else now." Before they could process her words, the ground trembled. Thomas's face twisted in horror, and he was suddenly thrown against the wall by an unseen force. "Dad!" Amelia screamed, rushing to him. Clara stood frozen, a deep unease creeping up her spine. What on earth was happening? "Run, Clara! Get Amelia out!" Thomas gasped, his eyes wild and pleading. But it was too late. The corridor darkened, and the woman stretched her arms, pulling shadows around her like a cloak. "I've been waiting. It's time for the truth to surface. For all of you." Clara's heart sank. What truth? What had they just stumbled upon? Amelia stepped back, shaking her head, confusion swirling in her eyes. "No, this can't be real." "Stay close," Clara murmured, gripping her arm, heart racing with fear. The air became thick with tension, and as the storm outside howled louder, it felt as if the mansion itself was alive, ready to reveal everything. What had they awakened? "Who do you really think you are?" Clara asked the woman, her voice trembling. The shadows flickered, and suddenly the room spiraled, questions spiraling like leaves caught in a whirlwind, one truth unraveling after another. The storm outside raged, but inside, they were caught in a storm of secrets, longing for answers. But would the truth free them or trap them forever? Amelia's breath caught in her throat, drawn into a chasm of disbelief as she took in the woman before her. "Mom?" The word trembled on her lips, carrying desperation and confusion. Clara stood rooted, next to her, her heart pounding like the storm outside, eyes wide with a mixture of fear and fascination. "Amelia, you shouldn't be here." The woman's voice was laced with a sadness that seeped into the very walls, chilling Clara to the bone. A wave of recognition washed over her. There was something hauntingly familiar about the woman's features, a mirror image of Amelia, magnified by sorrow. "What do you mean you shouldn't be here?" Amelia demanded, stepping forward, courage surging in her veins. "You're my mother. We've been searching for you, for answers." Clara's grip on her arm tightened, heart racing, as she sensed the monumental weight of truth dangling in the air, like a storm cloud ready to burst. Thomas stumbled back, eyes flickering between fear and anger. "No, this is impossible," he gasped, pressing his hands against his temples as if he could erase the image before him. "Nothing is impossible, Dad. Tell me the truth." Amelia's voice sliced through the shadows, the urgency spilling into the room. Clara wished she could inch closer, but she felt caught in time, like a framed picture stuck within the bounds of a shattered glass. The woman, caught in the middle of the mounting storm of emotions, stepped forward hesitantly. I tried to protect you from the truth." Her voice trembled, thick with heartache, as she glanced down the dark corridor behind her, as if fearing what lay beyond. "Protect us." From what? Clara finally found her voice, filled with a desperate need for clarity amidst the chaos. "Why did you disappear? What happened to you?" But before any answers came, the ground shook, an earth-trembling force that sent Clara staggering back, the walls moaning as if the house itself were alive, straining to keep its burdens hidden. "Get out of here!" Thomas shouted, scrambling to his feet, his face pale as he pointed toward the darkened corridor. Now, Amelia turned to him, eyes blazing with defiance. "I'm not afraid, not anymore." But just then a heavy thud echoed from the hidden depths, a sound like a door being torn off its hinges. Clara's blood ran cold. What was that? Her voice barely reached above the din, nerves on end. The woman spun around, panic sparking in her eyes, and in an instant, the air shifted. Shadows surged like restless waves, swirling around them as if responding to the woman's fright. She shouted, her voice rising above the storm. "You must listen to me. This place harbors secrets that should never see the light." But suddenly, as if summoned by the truth, the darkness coalesced into a figure, a man, shrouded in shadow and rage. Clara's heart dropped. "Who are you?" she gasped. But as he stepped into the dim light, the collective gasp filled the air. It was another Thomas, but younger, more vital. The resemblance was uncanny, yet the smirk curling on his lips betrayed a darker intent. "Oh, dear family," he drawled with chilling amusement. "Welcome to the other side of the story." Who are you?" Amelia breathed, realization dawning horrific. "A twin?" "Yes, dear sister," the man sneered. "Your father's hidden past just collided with your brightest dreams. Mommy here is only the beginning of what has been waiting in the shadows." The weight of his words fell over them like a heavy thundercloud, each syllable dripping with a darkness that threatened to engulf them. Clara's breath hitched. Who was this man? What secrets lay intertwined in their family tree? The store rattled the windows as the truth loomed larger, wrapping them in an ominous embrace. With a piercing glance, the woman turned to Amelia, eyes filled with a mix of regret and longing. "You have to decide, sweetheart," she whispered, "between the life you thought you knew and the darkness that might just be your inheritance." Clara's heart raced, eyes darting between Amelia and the unfolding nightmare. What had been a desperate search for answers morphed into a labyrinth of lies. How deep did the rabbit hole go? And as the storm outside continued to rage, Clara felt a surge of dread. What terrible family legacy were they about to uncover? Amelia's heart raced as she stared at the woman before her. "Mom?" The word escaped like a breath caught in the tide, while Clara's grip tightened on Amelia's arm. The moment felt like standing on the brink of a cliff, fearless yet trembling. Panic flickered across Thomas's face. "No, you can't be real." He stumbled backward, as if forced away by an invisible force. The other Thomas stood motionless, a smile spreading across his lips, revealing a confidence that felt sinister. "It's so lovely to see you, dear sister," the hidden Thomas drawled, his eyes glinting like shards of glass. "Mom has been keeping secrets in her little realm. But I bet you've uncovered a few of your own, haven't you?" "Stop this," Thomas shouted, shaking his head, his voice thick with desperation. "You shouldn't be here. Any of you." Amelia stepped forward, her courage igniting. "What do you want?" she demanded, voice trembling but strong. Clara felt the shift in the air, a storm brewing just beyond the lightning's flash. The shadowed figure chuckled, a deep, rich sound. "Oh, I'm just here for a family reunion, Father." The words dripped with mockery. "But it seems the family tree has spread roots we never knew existed." The woman, their mother, flinched at his gaze. "Thomas, stop. This isn't the way to do this. They deserve to know the truth." "What truth?" Clara pressed, voice rising above the crackle of thunder. "What's going on?" Before anyone could answer, the very ground beneath their feet shuddered violently. A low rumble echoed, and a portion of the wall cracked open like a dry seabed beneath a fierce sun, revealing a hidden compartment lined with dark and dusty boxes. "What the hell is that?" Thomas shouted, panic rising in his throat. But it was too late. The hidden twin stepped toward the opening, drawn to the chaos like a moth to flame. Let's see what's been hidden all these years, he declared, reaching for a box nestled in the shadows. Clara's pulse quickened, instinct pushing her to pull Amelia back, but Amelia was rooted to the spot. "No, don't," she cried, with a sharp gasp. The twin ripped the lid open, the sound shattering the air. Inside, papers spilled out, unraveling like forgotten memories, a testament to betrayal, a minefield of regret. An old newspaper clipping fluttered above their heads, catching the storm's winds, revealing a headline that froze Clara's breath. "Local heiress found dead. Tragedy strikes Camden family," it read, and beneath it a photograph. Two very familiar faces. Their mother, and that hidden twin standing alongside her, smiling and unrecognizable. Suddenly, it was not just a photograph. The air twisted, turning thick like molasses as Tommy's eyes widened, realization crashing down like a tidal wave. You were supposed to be dead." "I was never dead." "Brother," the twin smirked, eyes glinting with an unfathomable darkness. "I was simply hidden away, just like our family's real history." Clara felt the world tilting. The storm outside was nothing compared to the maelstrom erupting in her mind. What was happening? What whirlwind of secrets were they standing in? And then, with a sudden crack, like lightning piercing the night, another figure stepped into the corridor. This one cloaked in shadows, but with a face they'd never forget. "You've stirred up too much, dear family." A voice sliced through the growing darkness, familiar, yet haunting. "Who are you?" Thomas demanded, eyes wide with dread. "I'm the beginning of your end," the newcomer replied, stepping forward into the flickering light. "And I'll tell you everything, but you may wish you hadn't asked." As the truth hung heavy in the air, Clara felt her heart stop. Everything she thought she knew shattered like glass beneath their feet. What more lies awaited them in this collapsing world of shadows? And as the storm crackled above, a painful question loomed. Who could they trust when secrets had eyes and betrayal wore their closest faces? The shadow of the newcomer filled the corridor, and the tension thickened like fog wrapping around the family. Amelia's heart hammered against her ribcage. "What do you mean, the beginning of our end?" She barely recognized her own voice, trembling with rage and fear. "Isn't it obvious?" he replied with a smirk that cut like glass. "All of this, it's not just about what was hidden. It's about who you really are." His words swirled around them, heavy and insistent, like an approaching storm. "I don't understand," Amelia shouted, frustration bubbling over. "Who are you? What do you want?" The woman, their mother, stood frozen, a haunted look curling her lips. "You have to listen. The truth could change everything." "Oh, it will," the hidden Thomas laughed, "but it won't be what you think." He lunged for another box, toppling it to the ground. Papers scattered like autumn leaves, and Clara gasped when her eyes caught a glimpse of familiar names. "Wait," she whispered, stepping closer. Her eyes widened as a name leapt out at her from the chaos. This is Mom's name." Panic rushed through her, and an uneasy feeling settled deep in her gut. The figure in the shadows faltered for a brief moment. "She should have never left you," the newcomer said, his voice suddenly softer, almost vulnerable. "But that was her choice. What have you done?" Thomas's voice broke, raw and anguished. "Why did you come back now?" "Because unfinished business won't stay buried," the hidden Thomas replied darkly. "And you, Father, have buried deeper than anyone could imagine." With a sudden snap, the lights flickered again, plunging them into darkness for a breathless moment. Clara felt a chill creep up her spine. Did something shift in the shadows? And then it happened. A piercing scream ripped through the night. It wasn't from any of them. It rang out like shattered glass, echoing across the corridors of the mansion. The sound sliced through the thick air with a familiarity that gripped everyone in place. "Is that—" Amelia began, her voice small, her heart pounding in tandem with the frantic beat of her mind. "Is that Sophie?" Thomas's face blanched, horror spilling over it like ink. "What have you done?" he shouted, reaching for the doorway. But the hidden Thomas raised a hand, eyes gleaming. "You really think it's all about the family? You've been weaving a tapestry of lies, and now the threads are coming undone, one by one." Before anyone could react, a figure darted past the open doorway. "Help!" The scream sent bolts of fear through them all. It was Sophie, their family friend, eyes wild, hair a dark silhouette against the flickering light. "What happened?" Clara yelled. But an ominous hush came over the room, tension tingling as they processed her panic. Sophie stumbled forward, hands shaking. "You have to get out. It's coming." "What is coming?" Amelia asked, confusion crashing in with waves of fear. But just like that, the hidden Thomas broke into a smile, the kind that sent chills racing down Clara's spine. "What do you think it is?" he asked, his tone dripping with malice. "The truth, dear sister. The truth will swallow you whole." The walls seemed to tremble in response. It felt like the mansion itself was alive, holding on to the cold secrets buried within its past. Clara clutched Amelia's arm, dread pooling in her stomach. Each heartbeat echoed with urgency, pulsing through the disarray of mystery. What had they truly awakened? What darkness loomed just beyond the reach of their fragile understanding? Their mother's gaze shifted toward Amelia, filled with a mix of longing and pain. "You need to choose," she whispered, voice breaking, just as the lights flickered violently again. "Choose what?" Amelia retorted, anger bubbling at what felt like betrayal. But the answer was drowned out by a loud crash reverberating from the depths of the hidden room. Clara's breath caught. A shadow unfurled, lurking just beyond the pocket of light, waiting for them to decide. All at once, the family's secrets stood teetering on the edge of chaos, each choice spun tightly in the web of their tangled pasts. What was the truth waiting to come to light? And were they ready for what would be unearthed? The storm outside howled, a raging beast shrieking against the mansion's walls. Amelia's heart raced as she stared at her mother, disbelief hanging like a storm cloud. Suddenly, a crashing sound echoed from the hidden corridor. It felt like the building itself was breathing, alive with its dark secrets. "Help!" The cry jolted them all, pulling their attention back to Sophie, who stood wide-eyed, trembling. "What's happening?" Clara screamed over the storm. "It's coming! The monster!" Sophie said, panic twisting her features. Amelia's eyes darted around the room. "What monster? What are you talking about?" But the hidden Thomas, smirking darker than ever, stepped closer to the creeping shadows. "Oh, you'll see soon enough, sister." His voice dripped with venom. "Everything in this house is connected. You just need to know where to look." The trapdoor creaked open, revealing a long, narrow stairwell, spiraling into darkness. Clara felt the ground shift beneath her, heart racing. "Get away from there!" she cried out. With unexpected force, a shadowy form burst forth from the depths, lunging into the light. Clara's breath caught in her throat as a figure emerged, drenched and wild-eyed, like a ghost from the past. "Mom?" Amelia gasped again, but as the figure got closer, recognition twisted into horror. It wasn't their mother. It was someone else entirely, someone from stories long buried, an innocent face, twisted in time, yet unmistakably familiar. It was Amelia's childhood friend, Lucy, but she'd disappeared years ago. "Lucy?" Amelia's voice trembled, lips parting in disbelief. "Amelia!" Lucy cried, eyes haunted, desperation etched in every line of her face. "You have to listen, the truth. It's bigger than you know." The room felt like it spun, secrets breaking free like a dam collapsing. Clara felt a chill run down her spine. This was not just a reunion of family, but a merging of countless ties woven through time. "Is it true? Were you here when?" Amelia's question hung in the air, vulnerable and unguarded, but Lucy interrupted, her voice sharp, fueled by fear. You have to stop him, before it consumes everything. She pointed at the hidden Thomas, her gaze brimming with terror. He's not just a brother, he's a monster. Thomas's expression turned dark, eyes narrowing. You don't understand the power of secrets, Lucy. They tie us all together in ways you can't possibly comprehend. It's not just power, Lucy shot back, fear pulsing in her voice. It's madness. You'll unleash something greater than yourself. Clara felt her heart pound like a drum. What do we do? What can we do? She looked at Sophie. Each of them threaded into this tangled web. Believe her, Sophie urged, her face pale. She's right. This place feeds off of secrets. It hungers for what it has lost. Everything fell silent for a moment. Tension thickening the air until it felt suffocating. Lucy's words echoed in Clara's mind, each syllable reverberating with an urgency. Do you know what you unleashed? Lucy faced Thomas, fury shining in her eyes. You brought this on yourself. Suddenly, the lights flickered violently again, throwing panic into the room. Clara felt a sudden shift, a crack through the foundation of family loyalty that sent tremors through her soul. What if everything they thought they understood about their family was a lie? Enough, Thomas roared, stepping forward, but the walls themselves seemed to pulse as if to bottle up the truth. What if it's all a ruse? Clara blurted, her heart pounding. What if you and Amelia are not even related to the Kensingtons? The words hung in the air, each face frozen, mouth agape. All eyes turned to Amelia, cheeks pale, burdened by the revelation. She felt everything tilt. What? Her voice cracked, truth wrapping around her like a noose. The shadow of doubt swirled in the atmosphere, and Amelia's breath stuttered. What if their world has spun out beyond the grasp of that one truth? The storm rattled the windows, drowning out their thoughts, leaving a question suspended. What truth lay beneath bonds that might never have existed? And as fear gripped them all, darkness crept closer, ready to reveal its final hand. Amelia felt her heart race faster at the sudden shift in tension. The words hung in the air like a heavy cloud, suffocating and chaotic. This isn't possible, she whispered, shaking her head. The storm outside matched her turmoil, winds howling like angry voices, urging them all to flee. Who are you really? Clara echoed, her voice trembling. The strangest mix of dread and determination washed over her. This was not just about Amelia's family anymore. The shadows were swallowing everything whole. You think you know everything? The hidden Thomas taunted, his voice dripping with mockery. Everything you think you are, it's a spun web ready to crack. He stepped closer, shadows swirling around him like smoke. You're nothing but pawns in a game you don't even understand. Enough, their mother shouted, stepping toward him, her eyes fierce with desperation. You don't own them. This ends now. But then, with a sudden crash, the wall shifted, and stones tumbled down like hail, blocking off the passageway. Dust swirled in the air, igniting panic. Clara felt a rush, adrenaline flooding her senses. We have to get out, she urged, pulling Amelia back. But just as they turned, that chilling scream echoed again, piercing, electrifying, echoing in their ears. No, stop! Clara turned quickly. Another figure emerged from the shadows. A man stepped forward, his face illuminated by the flickering lights. You don't understand what's coming, he shouted. His voice boomed, soaring over the chaos. Clara's heart plummeted. She recognized him immediately. It was her father. Dad? She gasped, shock gripping her. He shouldn't be here. He had left. But here he was, his face lined with worry, eyes frantic. Get away from him, Thomas shouted, his tone laced with venom. But it was too late. Clara felt everything shift again. How could you? Clara, listen, her father pleaded, breaking through the fear. You have to trust me. Trust you? She exclaimed, disbelief saturating her words. You left us. Because I had to protect you, all of you. he countered, taking a single step forward. Amelia, you have to listen to me. Everything you think is true, it's all a lie, a carefully woven deception. What? Amelia asked, voice shaking. What do you mean? Her father took a breath, a weight shifting on his shoulders. Your family. He hesitated, the shadows swirling around him, dragging secrets into light. You're not just Kensingtons. You're connected to something far darker. No, no more lies, Hidden Thomas yelled, a ripple of anger sparking like lightning. You don't get to control this narrative. But her father didn't yield. Amelia is the key, he shouted, desperation breaking through his voice. The truth is. Suddenly, the lights flickered again, and in that brief moment of illumination, Clara saw it. Another figure emerged behind her father, a woman, familiar and ethereal, with cascading hair almost like a halo, eyes gleaming with recognition. Clara, she whispered. Mom, Clara breathed, the chill settling deep in her bones. Is that really you? But it wasn't. It couldn't be. She had lost her mother years ago. Stricken with an agonizing reminder of grief, Clara felt the ground beneath her crack. Don't you see? Her father continued, frantic now. She's been here this whole time, her spirit part of the shadows. Stop, Amelia shouted, hands trembling as if she could tear apart the layers spinning tighter around them. Just tell me, what is my true heritage? Before he could answer, Thomas lunged, intent on grasping the woman, fading in and out of the shadows. You don't belong here, he roared. The room erupted into chaos, a fierce wind stirring up debris as if the very mansion were trying to shake them. Free. Clara pressed forward, eyes locked on her family, the truth unraveling before them like a frayed rope, ready to snap. Then, the entire world shifted with a deafening roar, sending everyone crashing to the ground, a blinding flash of light illuminating the hidden passage. Shadows danced wildly, and Clara screamed, "What's happening?" In that moment, their mother's spirit grew clearer, arms outstretched toward Amelia, eyes fierce with urgency. But something changed. Her gaze locked onto the hidden Thomas with an intensity that pierced through all the noise. You don't belong to him, she declared fiercely. And just like that, Clara knew. Everything she thought she understood began to dissolve into a haze of confusion. Was the family, as they knew it, even real? Or was everything a smokescreen? Darkness pooled around them, expanding steadily. As they scrambled to their feet, the whisper of betrayal lingered in the air. Amelia, don't listen to them, Clara yelled. We have to find the truth before it consumes us. As the winds howled, she surged forward, determined to uncover what had been obscured for far too long. But suddenly, before their eyes, the shadows parted, revealing an ancient, gilded door behind the crumbling wall. Mom, Amelia whispered, caught between fear and hope. Clara turned. We have to go, now. But as they raced toward the door, Clara's heart thundered. What awaited them on the other side? As the door creaked open, the light inside beckoned like an unknown truth. The past hovered behind them, alive with secrets that cast shadows on their every step. Could they handle what was to come? In that moment, everything hung precariously. The truth they longed for was just within reach, but would it tear them apart forever? Amelia stood at the threshold of the darkened room, heart thundering in her chest. Every fiber of her being urged her to step back, yet the pull of truth forced her forward. Clara stood beside her, eyes filled with fear and determination. Together, they braced for the storm of revelations approaching. Mom, Amelia breathed again, hope mingling with disbelief. The figures before her flickered in the semi-darkness, shadows of the past intertwining with the present. Amelia, you have to listen. Her mother's voice was urgent, cutting through the chaos like a knife. There was a reason for everything. From the shadows, the hidden Thomas scoffed, the sound reverberating like thunder in the heavy air. Truth is subjective, Mother. They'll never understand. No, this is about them knowing their heritage, Not just the pretty picture you painted for them. Her mother shot back, fierce and unwavering. Tension surged as Clara stepped forward, hands trembling, her voice steady yet anxious. Amelia needs to know the truth, we all do. A bitter laugh escaped the hidden Thomas, a taunt that clawed at Amelia's insides. Do you really think knowing the truth will save you? Or your
Little family ties? What do you mean?
Amelia's voice cracked, uncertainty creeping in, like shadows inching closer. But before he could arrange his words into traps, Lucy lunged forward, eyes blazing. It's all connected. The mansion, the shadows, they feed off the secrets you hide. Amelia felt a cold sweat break across her forehead. What? She couldn't find the words. What does that mean? Every lie you tell, every truth you bury, they grow stronger, Lucy shouted. Desperation threading her words. Your family is intertwined in ways you can't even begin to imagine. The walls seemed to shudder, dust swirling like whispers around them. Clara's heart raced as the storm outside crackled, raging against the mansion's very bones. Lucy's right, her father finally spoke, voice thick with emotion. The truth can hurt, but it can also free you. Please don't shy away from it. Amelia's pulse quickened as she realized the gravity of their hidden legacy. So who am I? She asked, vulnerability cracking through her voice. You're more than a Kensington, her mother said softly, stepping closer. You hold the strength of our lineage, but also the weight of our choices. Accepting who you are will be your power. The walls trembled, shadows swirling around the entrance, whispering secrets of a bygone era. Just then, the lights flickered, casting a brilliant spotlight on the doorway. This was not just a moment, it was a turning point. Amelia's heart hammered, emotions bubbling to the surface. Whatever fears I carry, I'm ready, she declared, voice steady now. I won't run anymore. With each word, the tension shifted, chains of the past crumbling like dust. The hidden Thomas's face darkened, resentment leaking out. You think you can dismiss me? I've pulled the strings long enough. Amelia turned toward him, fire in her gaze. No more. We will break this cycle. You won't control our legacy. The moment hung heavy with energy, then burst like a bubble as a loud clap of thunder echoed from the heavens. The mansion trembled, walls groaning as if in agreement, urging them to take the leap. Now, Amelia, Clara shouted, eyes wide with urgency. Together, with trembling hands they grasped each other, holding on to the idea of truth, family, and choices unmade. They stepped forward, breaking the threshold into light, a blinding beacon promising a new dawn. As they crossed the unseen barrier, the shadows dissipated, and a rush of warmth washed over them. The darkness that had once controlled their lives fell away, replaced by a profound lightness. Amelia turned around, seeing for the first time the way out, not just of the mansion, but of the heavy burden of silence and deceit. And in that moment, the storm outside transformed into a gentle rain, washing away the lingering doubts. Thank you, she whispered to her mother, gratitude spilling over. For bringing me back to the truth. I'll always be with you, her mother replied softly, a tender smile illuminating her features, then shimmering into a warm embrace as the shadows released their hold. Clara squeezed Amelia's hand, heart swelling with relief. We did it. We faced the darkness together, she murmured. With courage blooming inside her, Amelia took a deep breath. Let's start anew. As they stepped further into the light, echoes of laughter played in their minds, an invitation whispered on the breeze. The mansion fell behind them, a relic of the past, no longer a prison, but a place of release. Together, they turned their backs on the remnants of shadows. They stepped into the future, ready to build it, not just as Kensingtons, but as warriors of their own narrative. But before the screen fades, I have an urgent call to action for all of you watching right now. You have to subscribe immediately to this channel, so you don't miss out on the next explosive stories coming your way. Smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more captivated viewers. Flood the comments section with your wild thoughts and theories about this ending. I want to hear from every amazing person in our community. And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this unfolds. This is the moment to show your support. You won't want to miss a single heartbeat.